Hello.
Hello. How much different has life been for you over the past 7 months or so? I mean, both, just in the cage and out.
Flying first class is something I could definitely get used to. Aside from that, not really much has changed. Not too much, anyways. Your kid doesn't care if you're the champion of the world, and that's a real humbling experience that I live on a daily day basis.
That's hilarious. How about fight week itself? I mean, you had been expecting this and wanting this and working towards this for a long time. Now that you're in the middle of it, I mean, we hear sometimes champs go, "Whoa, I didn't know it was going to be that much." I mean, how have you felt this week?
The one thing that I have been gunning for my entire career is to be the champion of the world. Champion of the world, champion. It seems like every time you hear me talking, I'm trying to get an opportunity to be the champion of the world. Now that I'm the champion of the world, there's no complaints. There's no complaining. There's no nothing. This media, it's not enough. I want more. I'm looking for the camera. Where are they at? I'll talk to whoever you want me to talk to. I'm the champion of the world. This is what I wanted. This is what I asked for, and I got it. And so now there's nothing left to do but the job itself, and that's let people know who I am. This is my opportunity to show people who I am and kind of let them get to know me. And I relish in that moment.
You always said you would beat Amanda, right? I mean, very respectful. I mean, if you're champion of the world, you got to put the belt there, right?
Yeah.
Take a break to do that.
Thanks, Lene.
I mean, you always said that you would beat Amanda, right? I mean, and it was always respectful, but you said, I know I can beat her. So what was it that you knew about her or about you that you were so confident in that, like, I'll be the one to take her out?
I think stylistically, when you look at styles, I think that that's a pretty good indicator. I also have the best team in the world that has eyes and heartbeats on the floor watching and guiding me. And without my team and without the adversity that me, myself, have had to face in my own career and in my personal life, I think those factors have given me the confidence to know that you can put King Kong in front of me and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win.
I wanted to ask you about the Ultimate Fighter experience because you got to spend, I mean, not a ton of time around each other, but a little bit. And you seem like the person that's always trying to glean something or learn something. So what did you take out of those interactions that you had on the Ultimate Fighter?
Funny enough, I was watching her sitting in her van, watching my practices. They got caught. They got caught big time. And once we saw them watching our practices, they threw the car in reverse and they hightailed it out of there. And I'm like, I see what you guys are doing there. I don't need to do any of that, though. I don't need to do any of that. But the most important thing is I can learn a lot just by listening to the fights and how they corner and the way that they are instructing their fighters on how to move and what combinations to throw and stuff like that. So that was very telling.
Interesting. Tactically for this fight, right? I mean, you got it done the first time around. Do you just kind of go in there and say, look, we know how to beat her. Let's execute that again. Or do you say, no, we've got to have an element of surprise. We have to change things up. Like, how much adjustment do you make considering you won the first time around?
At the end of the day, Amanda and I are the two best women's fighters in the world. You're literally getting the two best fighters in the world that are going to collide on Saturday night. I can't tell you that I'm going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I can just tell you that I'm going to stand there toe-to-toe with the best in the world, and I'm going to give my best, and we're going to see whose ovaries are bigger. And I am willing to bet that that is me.
I love that. You win this fight. You close this chapter. You've beaten the GOAT twice. I mean, where do you go from there? I mean, are you looking at other people in division? Are you looking at other options? What do you do at that point?
I am just ready to snuff out this torch. The torch was passed. I snuffed it out. I'm ready to close this chapter, and I'm ready to move forward. With that being said, it's hard for me to predict what's in the future and what's going to happen. I just want to live presently in the moment, and presently I have a bigger, faster, stronger, new gym, better mental state Amanda that is going to be facing me on Saturday night, and I don't take that lightly. I take it very seriously. So ask me again on Saturday night.
Julianna over here. Amanda was in here earlier, and we asked her, like, what did you learn about Julianna while on The Ultimate Fighter? And her only thing was, I found out she was just weird. Like, she was always on her phone. She wasn't really interacting with me or anything. She didn't really say anything. So what did you make of that, and what did you learn from Amanda just outside of the fight game?
Well, there's two things. Number one, I didn't realize that she was, talking trash until episode 1 aired, and they had to subtitle it, and it was such low volume that nobody could hear it. Like, if she wanted to say something to me, if she had something to say, I was right there, but I didn't hear anything that she had to say. So it was like, I guess she was trying to poke at me, but it didn't work. She didn't do a very good job, you know what I mean? Because there's some people that don't like confrontation. I'm not one of those people, okay? Like, you want confrontation, you're going to get it out of me, you know what I mean? But it was like, if there was confrontation coming on her end, I had no idea because she was saying it under her breath. So I was like, don't be scared. Like, I'm right here. If you have something to say, just say it. The second thing that I want to hint on is that I had some epic pranks. And at one point, like, Dana was in, I had all the crews in, everybody was like, we're gonna do this. And then they put the kibosh to it. They literally put the kibosh to so many things, and it was like, you know, it didn't end up happening. So that was a little bit disappointing because there was going to be some other things that were going to come down the end. But at the end of the day, you know, Dana entrusted me to find these next stars coming into the UFC and the next generation of up and coming stars and find these diamonds in the rough. I took that job very seriously. And the most important thing that I took away from it is get these guys' hand raised, get the world to know who these fighters are. And I did that. 3/4 of the finalists are from Team Peña. And I think that my job was done.
So as someone that went through it as a competitor and now as a coach, is there anything you would change to the Ultimate Fighter format, considering it is the 30th season?
There's definitely something, like, there was things that, like, I felt like they were, like, so lax on. Like, they got to listen to music every day on the way to the gym. Like, I didn't hear a song for frickin' 7 weeks, you know what I mean? I'm like, what do you they let you listen to music every day on the way to the gym? Like, they weren't as strict, I don't think, in some regard. And then on other regards, it was like, absolutely not, we can't allow that, you know? The other thing that I noticed is that they wanted drama, right? Well, there was drama in the house. There was plenty of things that they could have used, but they really kind of just made it about the fights. And so I myself was like, oh, they're not going to show that. Oh, they're not going to show that. We did so many cool things that they didn't show. And so that was a little bit disappointing, but oh well.
Did you miss the old TUF gym?
Yes, I miss the old TUF gym. Are you kidding me? I would have loved it to just see my face plastered right there on the wall every single day when I walked inside there. Yeah, no, I was a little bit sad that we weren't in there. But the facility that we used was, you know, top notch, beautiful.
Can you tell us any of these pranks that were put on kibosh, like you said?
I will tell you that Johnny Knoxville was involved and that they had a bear. And we were going to lock her in the room. And when she walks in there, she's going to see this gigantic bear and lock the door, and she can't get out and start freaking out. Johnny Knoxville was on board, Dana was on board, and then they were like, we have the fights on Saturday night. This bear has to get acclimated to this room for 4 nights. It has to eat, shit, sleep in this room, you know? Like, we need the room for the fights. And so they ended up saying that we couldn't have the bear. So then we changed it to a tiger and midgets. And they were like, okay, let's see, you know, and like, I don't know if it was Pilgrim Productions that wasn't on board. Something happened where they were like, we absolutely can't have this. You mean you want a tiger to be in a room with one of my best fighters that I have on the roster? Like, nah. And so the whole thing got squashed. But I was like, if the Jackass boys aren't helping me, there's no point in pranking. Like, you can't do anything after that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's either all or nothing.
Julianna, I saw in some of the interviews that you've done in the past talking about wanting to move up or down. You know, could you see a potential fight at 145 against Amanda, regardless of the outcome of this fight on Saturday?
There's nobody in the division, you know. There's really not. It's a division of who? Amanda? Who else? You know, all the girls that have fought at 45 just went up in weight so that they could have a shot at the belt because they couldn't get done at 135. And it's a division of literally no one. It's, to me, primarily people that either can't make 35 or just don't want to cut the weight, you know. The real fights are at 135.
Could still be that champ status, though.
I'm already a champ.
How important is it for your career and your legacy to have a rivalry like this, right? Because Amanda didn't really have a rivalry. You know, she's been dominant. You know, then you come along, you get the win, you got the rematch coming. Third fight could happen, depending on what happens, right? So how important is it for you to have like this sort of rivalry, high-level rivalry against one of the best to ever do it?
That's a great point, and it's something that is very important for my legacy and for the sport in general. It takes two to tango. You need a dance partner, and without Amanda and without me, there would be, you know, no headlining of this UFC 277. We are the two best female fighters in the division in mixed martial arts, and if I didn't have Amanda and if Amanda didn't have me, then none of this would exist. So I absolutely respect her and honor that fact, because it takes two to tango. Cool. Thank you, guys.